Welcome back, baseball family. This week we're going to talk about a major streaming service, players' weekend reactions, and the All-Overpaid team right now. Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family, to another episode of the Baseball Together podcast. I'm Brig. I got Brad with me, and I'm going to ask him how he's doing in a minute. But before I do, I want to tell you that I am doing great, and it is because I am using this CBD balm from ZakaLife.com. They reached out to us. We have a partnership going with them now, and you need to get your hands on this stuff. This is the best smelling, easiest to apply, green goopy CBD, all natural stuff I've ever experienced in my life. It's made right here in the United States. They're out of Scottsdale. Every experience I've had with them so far has been great, and they don't smell bad. Go to ZakaLife.com, use code BTPOD, or you can use the link in the description and get some of your aches and pains feeling better right now. And there's more than just balm. Brad, how are you? Are you wearing this right now?
Not right now, but I will later. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But I'm doing well. Things were pretty dark there for a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. Because the Mariners got swept by the freaking Tigers and then dropped 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. Like, it was a pretty rough weekend until Sunday came around. Yeah. Pretty rough week, actually.
I'm right there with you. It's been kind of rough.
I was this close, Brick, to coming on as Surly Brad. Real close.
Well, I'm right there with you, because if you're going to lose to the Tigers, the only thing that's keeping the Yankees in first place is that Baltimore also loses occasional games. Like, they dropped one of the Mets today. They lost one in Boston. Like, that's the only reason they sit a game or a half a game up right now, and I just am astonished. It is going to literally come down to the wire. Like I said a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever it was, the AL East is going to really is going to be decided the last week of the season.
Yeah, it will be. I would like if the AL West went down to the last week of the season, but it seems like the Mariners just don't want to make the playoffs.
I know.
Like,
I don't get it.
I say that, obviously they do. They're trying.
You're just bitter, right? Yes.
It feels that way. So I don't know.
Yeah. They are 5.5 games behind 0 in the wild card, in the American League wild card.
Oh, yeah, no, wild card is probably not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
They have to catch the Royals.
And they can't, and Boston's ahead of them 2 games.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen in the wild card. It's either win the division or bust.
Yep. Gonna have to rely on the Astros fading, and I don't know that that's going to happen.
Oh,
yeah, when you lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates, the weekend that the Astros have the White Sox, you're gonna
give up some ground.
You're gonna give up some ground, and then especially when you get swept by the Tigers, you're gonna give up some ground. It's just absurd, Brick.
The Braves gave up some ground. They're 7 games behind the Phillies in the division right now. That's fascinating.
Well, I don't think the Braves are going to have enough to make it now that Austin Riley's. I think that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back with that team.
I think you're right. The Cardinals came out of nowhere and have gunned it down. They jumped back up from where I thought they would be. I mean, I know.
Well, that's because the Pirates lost 10 in a row.
I know. I thought the Pirates would stay up there. It's like,
no, I don't think they're going to make. I don't think it's going to matter, but I think it's mostly because the Pirates lost 10 in a row.
Yeah,
that they're back up there.
It won't matter. And can we just take a round of applause for the Friars really quick? They're only 3 games behind LA right now in the division, and they stand 3.5 games up in the wild card.
Well, so where's Arizona? Because they're right there too.
They are too. Arizona is 3 games up in the wild card, so they're only a half a game behind San Diego in the wild card.
Yeah, they're right there. They're making the Dodgers nervous. We didn't think they would, but they are.
I know. Let's see where they are in the
public
division
service
standings.
And making baseball interesting in the NL West.
Yep, it's a half a game. 3.5 behind the Dodgers. Are the D-backs, and the Friars are 3 games behind the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Fascinating, as we like to say here.
Fascinating.
Baseball family, we will bring you up-to-date coverage and analysis and thoughts and feelings and snarkiness and all the poopy pantsery throughout the remainder of the season, through the playoffs as
don't
well.
Forget
and then
curmudgeonry.
And curmudgeonry. And we will also be here the remainder of the year. We don't go away. We don't stop. We can't stop, won't stop.
Sorry, we don't go away.
I'm not sorry. This is
just the way you said it
and
seemed apologetic.
It is. I'm not sorry. One quick housekeeping thing, baseball family. Well, two actually. The first is that the giveaway is still going on for your copy of A Baseball Guide Gene. Go over to Instagram, figure it out. We got 1 week left. There it is, to get your copy of the book by Aaron Fishman.
This copy that I'm holding in my hand.
Yep, that's the one. Yours. It is truly outstanding, and we're not just saying that. It really is. And conversations with both Aaron and Tony, the subject of the book and the author, are available at Ball Talk. We pushed those out a few Fridays ago each, and they are fantastic. Really fabulous. One more public service announcement. With 38 games left in the season, I guess it's 36 now, approximately 36 games left in the season, the White Sox are officially eliminated from playoff contention.
Right.
Just in case you weren't tracking. I don't know. The mathematicals have come through.
Being bad.
It's official.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's jump into the lineup.
We're going to get into that a little bit with the overpaid team, because there's a few guys on there that I was surprised. So that'll be fun.
I agree. All right, we're going to get into the lineup here, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, go ahead and do that. Just jump in there, hit that subscribe button while you're at it. That's the best way to consume everything we got going on, and we got going on all the time. So, first things first. In case you're wondering, Fox, ESPN, and Warner Brothers have been proposing unifying their efforts to bring baseball streaming to one single
not just baseball,
service.
Sports.
Well, right, but nobody cares about other sports, Brad. We only care about the baseball times.
You're right. You're right.
Just kidding. Other people care about other things. It's fine. They can do that. But they want to collaborate and make one monster, ugly behemoth of a streaming service, channeling and funneling all of your money, and to get the sports that you want. A judge, and not the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Aaron Judge, but a judge in a robe with a gavel, ruled.
I wonder if he was wearing a wig.
He needed to have been in his full Tory outfit.
We can only hope.
Indeed.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So it's okay. A for real judge sitting on a bench somewhere ruled that ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers cannot create the monster streaming platform that they announced February 6th this year. Fubo TV filed a lawsuit saying that Fubo and consumers would, quote, face irreparable harm in the absence of an injunction, end quote. Fubo has been trying to offer a sports-only streaming service, but has been blocked because ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers have imposed bundling requirements that would essentially force the company, Fubo, to spend millions of dollars to license and broadcast content that nobody really cares about and nobody needs.
Right.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? So what do we care, Brad? What's the question now?
So
is this Fubo saying, if I can't play, you can't play? Is that what this is?
Honestly, it feels like Fubo has everybody's best interest in mind. So here's something interesting, Brig. So this was like when Watch ESPN first came out.
Yeah.
Like, I think before it was ESPN 3, any of that. When it was the ESPN streaming service and in its infancy.
Yeah.
When it came out, my internet provider did not, or my satellite provider didn't offer it.
Right.
Okay. And so happened to be at, of all places, the State Fair, and our satellite provider had a booth there. And so I walked up to the guy. I was like, "Hey, why don't we get why is the ESPN streaming platform not available?" He goes, "Because they want $1 million to license it, and that would make your prices go up, and we don't want to do that." And I was like,
fair enough.
"Okay, all
Much
right,
grass.
if you say so." Yeah, I appreciate it. Missing out on a
Thank
bunch
you
of
very
sports, but okay, if you say so.
I like
This is the
bills.
exact same thing, Brig.
Yeah.
If ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers got together and made this massive streaming platform, do you know how much it would cost every month to pay for that streaming platform? I mean, it's not
I
your
know
13.
I know the answer. $1 billion.
At least. Like it
I know.
might be, because the amount of live sports that they would bring you would be astronomical. And the money that pays the players, the reason players get paid so much money is because of live rights, live broadcast rights. Like if you go back in sports history and like, man, when did players get paid so much money? It's when live TV rights were very first sold. That's when players got to be full time. I think it started with basketball, honestly, if I remember right.
It did. I think it did start with basketball.
And so these streaming companies, ESPN, Fox, or entertainment companies, ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, they would be price gouging you 1,000%, because they'd be like, "We have exactly what you want. This is the best place to get it, so we can charge you $100 a month, and you know what? By gum, you're going to pay for it because we know you will."
Or you just don't get it.
Or you don't get it and you miss out, because guess what?
That's
if you're not paying for that, where are you going to get it?
Yeah, because we own it.
That's a lot of college football people are going to miss out on, Brig.
Feels like a monopoly.
Exactly. And I think that's like the underlying issue here is it's not a full monopoly, right? Like you still got CBS who can stream college football and NFL football, and you still got Peacock is its own platform still, right? Like you still got those, but at the same time though, like Fox and ESPN, that is so many sports.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's every Saturday for baseball, Sunday night for baseball, playoffs for baseball, like a vast majority of the playoffs for baseball right there, right?
At least half, or better.
Maybe 2/3 to 3/4, yeah. So you're missing out on a lot of stuff, and that's just off the top of my head. Like you're missing out on way more stuff if you don't have that platform at that point. And so at what point is it like, well, I can get the stream platform, I can just pay for satellite, pay for cable, right? It would reach the point where you'd have to make that decision, I think.
Yeah.
And really, Fubo was doing everybody a favor, being like, no, like we want to offer this too, and if you're doing this, then we can't.
Right. So, but it just happened to work out in our favor. Is that what we've decided on?
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really what it came down to. And the other thing too is that Fubo is realistic on this. I feel like they're like, because they didn't want to have all that extra stuff that you have to pay for that you don't care about, right?
Yeah.
Because they know that there's a certain amount that people aren't going to pay.
Of course, there's a threshold.
Like talk about self-awareness of a business, right? That like there's a cap. There gets to be a point where people aren't willing to pay anymore, and we're not willing to go to that point. And I think that that's part of it too, is that it would make it harder for Fubo to be competitive.
Can't have that. Then you'd be like the White Sox.
And we all benefit. We all benefit if there's more competition in the market.
Yeah. In every market.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. The Tigers have DFA'd Gio Urshela. Now, for those of you keeping track, as I have been, Gio Urshela has moved around a lot. Then he broke his hip, and he's still been moving around. There's been a whole lot of moving, a whole lot of shaking going on, as my dad would say, with Gio Urshela's game over the last few years. And it's too bad because he is a solid player. He's always been a solid player. He's an everyday guy. He can utility a little bit. The guy is fantastic. But the Detroit Tigers...
So since 2021, real quick. So he was with the Yankees. Well, first he was with Cleveland, 2015, 2017. Toronto, 2018. 2019 through 21. New York, and then he was in Minnesota for a year. Was at the Angels for a year. That was when he broke his hip. And then this year he was in Detroit.
Yep. Been all over the place. Detroit made the move. They called up the team's number 4 prospect. His name's Jace Young. He had a pretty good series against the Yankees, if I remember correctly. He has gone 3 for 9 with 3 walks across 3 games. Urshela, in 92 games this year, is hitting 243, 286 with 333, and he will be a free agent at the end of this season. He's 32. Who's grabbing him, if anybody?
Honestly, so 243 is not bad. 333 slugging is not good. Like and I think if you pick up Gio Urshela, you're not picking up for his pop, right? You're picking up for that 243.
And a solid glove.
He's going to get base hits.
Yeah.
Yes, and a solid glove. And he does have a minus 0.6 WAR this season, which I believe is down, but still at 32. I feel like you can platoon him at third base, and you'd be fine, right?
Well, and we've seen him at first occasionally too, like on an emergency basis, and he does fine. Not great, but if for an emergency guy,
you can put him on the corners at 32, 33, and he'll be serviceable for you. Yeah. So I think he comes into a mid-level team to finish out the season. Maybe he goes to the Braves. I'm not saying the Braves are a mid-level team, but they need a third baseman, right?
They do. Yep, they do.
So maybe that's where he goes to finish out the year.
Interesting.
So, because this is the other thing. This is the other thing that reminded me of this was Ahmed Rosario was DFA'd by the Dodgers when Mookie Betts came back, and he was like the hottest commodity on the market. It's like,
he was.
Let this guy go, right? He didn't even make it to Seattle. He made it to the Reds. Yep. They are the ones who claimed him, which I don't think was too far down the list as far as the waiver order goes. And so I think Gio Urshela, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he fell to one of those mid-level teams, and if he makes it all the way down to the Braves, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool for him because he'd get another shot at the playoffs, which I think he deserves.
Yep, I agree.
All right, let's move on. Las Vegas. The Athletics moving to Las Vegas. Even though they're trying to get rid of that name, just go with the A's. I'm not going to let him do that. I'm not going to let him, Brad. I'm not going to let it happen.
Are they trying to drop the Athletics and just be the A's?
Listen, I don't know if
I know
it's
they're
official,
dropping Oakland. I know they're dropping
but
Oakland.
I don't know if it's official. But everything I've seen has been A's. I don't know.
I wonder if it's going to be like a transition to like an Ace logo. Yeah. An Ace card. Because I don't think they can be the Aces since they already have the WNBA team as the Aces.
Right. They can't.
And then you've got the Reno Aces as well.
Good call. Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know.
That's true.
Different kind of aces there. But anyway.
Couple things. Just reminders as we meander around. The stadium they're proposing in Vegas, 33,000 seats is all. It's a dome structure. It's going to cost $1.5 billion just to construct it. Now, Steve Hill is the president and the CEO of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. He is quoted as having said that they are rounding third and heading for home on this deal. That's what he said. A lease agreement has been proposed. It's a 30-year lease agreement. That's pretty common. But it has extended and flex options and whatever to move up to 99 years total on the lease. That is a long time. And it's interesting because the Raiders got a 30-year lease in Las Vegas, and there were no other conditions for extension, as far as I could see. Fascinating.
It is.
This is the fascinating episode.
This is interesting. So the Mariners did some renovations at T-Mobile a couple years ago, and one of the things they said when they did that was they're like, we don't want to ever leave this ballpark. We want this to be the home of the Mariners and baseball in Seattle for another 100 years. Like, we want this to be a Fenway Park in 100 years from now. So we want to maintain it. We want to upkeep it, make sure that it's still a viable ballpark every single day that you come. We don't want it to fall into disrepair. And I wonder if that's like one of the things with this up to 99 years is they're like, we want baseball in Las Vegas. Once it gets here, we want it to stay. And and part of that is renovations, upkeep, things like that as needed. We're willing to sign a lease agreement to keep you here so you don't have to deal with this really ever again.
Right.
Right.
And neither does anybody else.
Yeah, that we want baseball here and we want it here to stay.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool.
Which the other thing is
you can't up and leave a team or leave a location as easily if you have a lease agreement in place because you got to, at the very least, buy it out.
Right.
Or negotiate some kind of buyout. So,
yeah. Well, if
it.
anything, we've seen this debacle with Oakland has ripped everything to pieces for the fan base, and baseball is in all kinds of disarray because of it as a whole, I would say. That I'm in favor of a longer lease, not knowing what the other broad implications are for the city or I don't understand what other the second, third orders of effects would be. But what I do know is that if we can avoid what's going on with the A's in Oakland right now, and this gets us there, that's probably a pretty good thing. That's where I'm at.
I agree.
That's my initial response.
Yeah, I think so. And I think some of... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say they had a meeting. They proposed the lease, and they still need a non-relocation agreement, which touches on what we've been talking about. They also need a development agreement. So the next meeting is scheduled for 17 October. They're hoping to have it all wrapped up and approved on December 5th. There is another meeting later in December, a couple weeks later. They call it a release valve, just in case something it gets hiccup. There's something along the way, but
or something overflows. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, but that's the plan. So, does that to you, Brad? Does that feel like rounding third?
It does. I think having terms of a lease agreement in place helps. I know nobody's signed or agreed to anything, but I think the fact that they're like, hey, we would like to have you for 30 years. That I don't think the A's are going to be like, well, no, what if in like 20 years we want to go? You know? Like, I don't think they're going to do that.
No.
I wouldn't think so. But I mean, we've seen professional teams be in cities shorter than that period of time, right? So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I think that baseball wants to be in Vegas and wants to stay in Vegas. Well, they want to be in Vegas, but I think they want to stay in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help.
There are still a number of problems and questions about public funding, private funding, equity partners, and things like that, how they're going to, get this money together. But so far, this is what we have. That's the update. Okay, let's move on. The Little League Classic for next season has been announced. It's going to be the Mariners. They're going to play the Mets. It's going to be August 17th, 2025. Brad?
Why is Major League Baseball obsessed with forcing the Mariners and the Mets down our throats? Like, I'm fine with it because I'm a Mariners fan. I love being able to watch the Mariners on national TV. But like, what is it about the matchup between the Mariners and the Mets that MLB is like, no, you need to watch this. Everybody, you all need to watch this.
Alliteration, I think, is the only answer.
Maybe
Mets Mariners on Monday night.
They flexed the Mets and Mariners into Sunday night on ESPN. Like, why is MLB so obsessed? It was a week ago.
I don't know. Yeah.
So obsessed with putting the Mariners and Mets on prime time together. I don't understand it. It's like the most random fabricated rivalry, apparently.
Yeah, they're manufacturing a rivalry. Neither team, by the way, are in playoff spots at all. They're not.
No. It's not like that game was like a huge deal, other than the fact that, like, hey, you know who hasn't been on Sunday Night Baseball in a long time?
Yeah,
the Seattle Mariners. And guess what? They're in Seattle, so even better. Two birds, one stone. Now we don't need to go back for another 20 years.
Yeah. Well, and this time it'll be in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. For those of you that
Right.
don't know, that's where the Little League World Series takes place. There for the last handful of years. Well, it started in 2017 that they've had big leaguers playing in the Little League Classic.
That's right. Yeah.
17 or 19 or something like that.
I can't remember. It's been
I think
longer
it's
than it
17,
feels like.
but
But I will say this though, Brig. One thing is that getting Julio in front of all those little leaguers is going to be really cool for those kids because he has got
100%.
he's from personal experience seeing him with kids. He's great with kids.
Yeah.
He's really great. They're going to love being around him.
That's awesome.
So
We'll get it done.
It'll be
That's
cool
what I
for
have
them.
to say.
Yeah.
And if anybody, it's going to be against the Mets, which we all know is very exciting.
Who knows on the Mets
keep
team?
hammering
Francisco Lindor will be there, but like, who's going to be there on that team next year?
It might not even be Polar Bear Pete.
Probably not, to be honest with you.
And apparently Edwin Diaz is overpaid, so we'll get there. Hold on. Let's react, Brad, to the Players' Weekend that we just experienced. A couple of notes on this, and then I want to just open-endedly ask your opinion. So gird up your loins, Brad. But this is the first Players' Weekend in 4 years. Can you believe we haven't had one in 4 years?
Well, no, it doesn't feel like it's been 4 years, but that's
also
weird
why
and crazy.
Has it not happened in 4 years?
I feel like it was because the disaster of those black and white uniforms are like, we need to recover from this. I will never financially recover from this, I think is what baseball was saying.
So this year, instead of the uniforms, they had the cool uniforms last time they did it 4 seasons ago that were kind of color blocked and they had nicknames on the back and things like that. This year, they had a unique theme set out for each day of the 3-day Players' Weekend. Friday was fun. Players' personalities and off-the-field friendships and things like that were highlighted. Saturday was themed with causes, where their favorite charities and community efforts and things like that got promoted. Sunday was appreciation, where they were able to celebrate and involve and honor those who were influential on their rise to the bigs. Okay, before we get into all the details about how this was celebrated further, Brad, what were your overall thoughts and takeaway?
My first overall thought and takeaway was I saw the logo on Facebook and was like, that's this weekend? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right? Okay.
That's today?
No clue. Oh, no. That's due today.
Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, like, they've minimized this whole thing so much. Like, it is cool, like, seeing like the highlight of the player personalities and off-field relationships, like the things they highlighted with the causes and the player appreciation. That stuff is fun and it's cool to see, right? Because it humanizes the players a little bit more.
Yeah.
But they've made it where it's like it is 99% a social media event that you don't really get to see what's going on unless you hop on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever and see the special cleats highlighted. You may not have noticed the numbers on the side of the hats, right?
I don't know how you could miss them, though. Go ahead.
But you may not have noticed it.
Sure.
Right? May not have noticed
known
exactly
what they were.
Yes. You may have seen the patch on the side and not realized, it's his number as a ransom note. But
yeah. Yes! That's exactly what they look like to me. They look like ransom notes. They look like magazine cutouts that somebody didn't want fingerprinted. And then, oh my word, that
was my first thought. So it looks like a ransom note. But
wow.
But like you don't really get to see the bats unless you hop on social media. By the way, Jackson Merrill, my man.
Yeah.
With his lightsaber bat. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That glows in the dark.
Yeah, I was pumped when I saw that, Brig, by the way, because I was like, I need to buy me one of those. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's become so minimalized, and like I said, it relies so much on social media to highlight exactly what's going on that the game itself doesn't feel like the weekend itself doesn't really feel special.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's special for the kids in Williamsport, and I think that's important.
Right.
That's really cool. The Little League Classic is such a big deal, and it deserves to be a big deal. But I agree with you. I thought that, the numbers on the side, I was waiting for somebody to explain that it went deeper than just that happens to be the same number on his jersey. We just stylized it, but that's all it was. They said they wanted to have a youthful design, and that's what they came up with. And it's
That's great art project. Okay.
And guess what? Guess what, Brad? You can buy one. Did you know?
I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. You bet your butt you can buy one. That's the onlyest thing we ever got to see on the telly was the numbers on the side of the pitcher's caps. And then maybe a shortstop who turned a double play or threw to first base. Those were the only moments where it was clearly visible what was going on the side of the ball caps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because they didn't. I don't feel like they ever highlighted it much. But also, like, to be fair, Brig.
To be fair.
When I watch a game, I don't sit and watch every single second, and I often have the sound down.
Right,
so maybe they highlighted it more, and maybe they like zoomed in. But with the pitch clock, Brig, I pretty much have nailed down how long 8 seconds is.
Same. Same. I get interrupted when I watch baseball, but that's fine.
yeah, I do too.
That's none of my business.
Anyway,
the bats were cool. The cleats are cool. You can't see the cleats unless they're big and loud, and even then, it's a blotch of color most of the time. But some of the best bats, I was surprised. I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised at how many pencil bats we saw. But I'll tell you what. Harrison Bader's pink crayon was killer.
That's awesome. Did you see Logan O'Hoppy's catcher's gear this weekend?
No, I didn't see that.
It had all kinds of it looked like there was Sharpie drawn on it, just like tiny little pictures, like little doodles. And I believe it was done by kids from a local children's hospital.
Oh, cool.
Which is cool. But again, I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah. Of course you did.
There's that.
Oh, but yeah. Anyway. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Like,
I thought it
sign in the cast kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I don't know if they had kids draw on a piece of paper, then they printed it on there.
No, I just saw a picture with a kid wearing it.
So they sent the gear. They sent the chest protector down the line.
I think so.
That's what I wondered. I was hoping that's what they did, because that would be really cool to do it that way.
That's bomb, instead of having it some sort of printed or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, baseball family, what did you think of this year's Players Weekend? Did you also lament the atrocious loss the Yankees gave up to the Tigers in front of a whole bunch of kids? I mean, it was a great game. Like, it was exciting. There was a lot of really fun plays. It was a good show for those in attendance. It was a horrible loss for the Royal We. So that's what I have to say about that.
In the ivory tower.
We have one. It's very nice. Okay. Let's move on to the all-overpaid team. This is an analysis brought to you by Bleacher Report, and we could not be more grateful and more excited to both have experienced this list, but also to be able to bring it to you. If you're not aware, the Bleacher Report put this together. It's a list of 28 players who are active, so there's a full roster.
Well, the payroll. Active. Some of them have not played this year, just so you know.
Right, but they're still getting paid, and there's a contingent of them who are making over $10 million and are not playing, but they still meet the requirements. So the payroll for this roster of just the 28, not the 10 or whatever that are listed in the reserves, but it's $628 million worth of payroll, which for those of you actuaries at home, is 10 times what the A's are paying their entire roster.
It's crazy. So real quick, this list for a lot of fans should be like, oh, I'm glad that my team didn't go out and overpay this offseason.
Sure.
Really glad. Right? Like,
yeah.
This is why it's really nice sometimes you take a couple of years and build up your farm system, because this kind of stuff can happen to you. All right. How do we want to do this, Brig? I think we should just name the name and how much they're getting paid.
I agree. Why don't you take one position at a time? So you take the catchers,
Okay.
I'll do first base, we'll move from there.
Okay. So it starts with catchers, and your worst catcher is James McCann with the Baltimore Orioles. He's getting paid $12.15 million with a 0.2 B WAR. That's a baseball reference WAR. He's a backup catcher, though. So, really what that is you're just paying a whole lot of money for a backup catcher.
Yeah, a lot.
But
here's the other thing, though. I got to bring this up. Let's take Shohei Ohtani's money, and they highlighted this in the introduction to the article. They're using the average annual value. They're not using cash payouts this season. They're taking $70 million of his contract, for example, instead of the $2 million he's getting this year. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's how they work the math. Okay. All right.
Spoilers, he's still not on the list.
Yeah, no, he's not on. No. If he did, well, I would have lost all faith.
Your runner-up. Your runner-up is Max Stassi with the Chicago White Sox. He's making $7 million this year, but he has not played in a game since 2022.
That's overpaid.
Pretty good deal for a backup catcher, but not a good deal for a guy who is not playing. Speaking of guys
first
who
base
aren't playing, Brig.
Yeah, your first baseman is Jose Abreu with the Houston Astros. He is getting paid $19.5 million with a negative 1.6 B WAR, and he does not play baseball. He is not playing baseball. So that's very cool. Your runner-up makes me very sad, though it's hard to disagree with. Anthony Rizzo for the New York Yankees, $17 million. He has a negative 0.6 B WAR. I think that concussion really messed him up, and I'm upset at the organization still because I think that's what we're dealing with. But, whatever. Go ahead.
For good reason. I think so, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Second base, another Yankee. Another Yankee. Gleyber Torres, $14.2 million, 0 B WAR, the most errors at his position in the last, 3 years, and refusing to change positions. Negative fun differential for Gleyber Torres as well.
Yeah.
Your runner-up, Xander Bogaerts of the Padres. And I think mostly what this is the fact that he is paid so much money because they're paying him $25.5 million this year. And he's got a 0.9, not a 9, a 0.9 B WAR this season. He is one of the shortstops on that team and not having a great year.
No.
To go along with it.
It's okay. Third baseman, everybody was new. Everybody knew this was coming. Anthony Rendon takes the number 1 spot at third base. Los Angeles Angels, $38.6 million for a 0.2 B WAR.
And Brig, it's shocking that it's positive. Let's be honest.
Yes,
because he's only played in a handful of games.
Yeah, he has a couple of at bats.
But I guess if you don't play, you're not gonna. If you don't play, it's not gonna go down. So there you go. You play a couple of good games, you get a positive WAR. Then you go sit down, hey, look at my contributions when I was in the game. So
that's right. I'm gonna take another dagger here. The runner-up at third base is DJ LeMahieu, New York Yankees, $15 million for a negative 1.4 B WAR. He basically cannot catch a break. That's
Sometimes
it. That's
just had bad luck.
I think it's over for him in the boogie down.
Okay. Shortstop. I think we all saw this one coming. So it has co-worst. Your first one is Javi Baez with the Tigers. No surprise there. They're paying him a whopping $25 million for a negative 1.1 B WAR. It's bizarre what has happened to him since he left Chicago.
I don't get
Inexplicable.
Yeah.
And your other co-worst is actually Trevor Story with the Red Sox, $22.5 million with a .1 B WAR. But again, he can't stay on the field, so of course,
Nah.
absolutely,
Right. Yeah.
makes sense.
He's been out since I think the first week of the season, something like that. Like he hasn't played.
You move on to left field, and I'll look it up for sure.
Left field. Andrew Benintendi with the White Sox is getting paid $17.1 million. It's getting a negative 1.7 B WAR for that, which is very cool. He's done a pretty good job, at least against the Yankees. I felt like he had a pretty good outing. So,
Well,
runner-up
everybody had
is
a good day against the
Manuel.
Yankees.
What?
Everybody on the team had a good day against the Yankees.
You want to say that to my face? No, just kidding. All right, runner-up for left field is Manuel Margot with the Twins, $10 million for a negative 0.6 WAR. There you go.
Talk about the Rays nailing it, getting rid
Yeah.
of a guy at the exact right moment. That's what they do. That's what they do. They say they'd rather get rid of a guy a year too early than a year too late. Right on the money with Margot.
Well,
so
and he's
Trevor
getting
Story played
paid. He's getting paid $2 million from Tampa, $4 million from the Dodgers, and the other $4 million from the Twins. That's in the Bleacher Report here. I got that right here.
That's so funny. So Trevor Story only
Amazing.
played in 8 games this year.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. Center field, I think we all saw this one coming. It's very unfortunate, but Mike Trout is right there because he's making $37.2 million this year. He has a 1.0 B WAR. He was on pace to have an outstanding year this year, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, unfortunately. So honestly, I think we're seeing the rapid decline of Mike Trout simply because of health. When he plays, he's going to be great, but the question is going to be when's he going to be able to play?
Yep.
So, and then your runner-up is it Young-Hoo Lee? Jung-Hoo Lee with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying him $7.8 million. He's got a 0.2 B WAR, but the fact that he's out for the entire season after only playing a handful, he played for a little while, 37 games.
Yeah.
And he got a shoulder injury. So, like, it could have been worse, but it also really could have been better. That injury is just unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't think he made the transition
Bad luck.
well. Right field. No surprise here. Chris Bryant for the Colorado Rockies is making $28 million for all of us to forget he's there and even wonder, is right field really where he plays? Because Brad and I were having the conversation earlier. It sure isn't third base, but we didn't know where else he was. That's how long it's been since he's played baseball in public.
In public, yes. Absolutely.
15 games at DH, 12 in right field, 9 at first base is what it says here.
Huh. All right.
Runner-up, Nick Castellanos, Philadelphia Phillies. $20 million for a 0.1 WAR. This is a hot take, in my opinion.
I agree, because I feel like the only reason they put him here is because he is one of the highest paid right fielders in the league, and it doesn't feel like it's a premium position, right? That, like, you're paying your right fielder a lot of money for whatever reason. Like Chris Bryant, it almost feels like because they could have put him under the DH, could have put him under third base, but they put him under right field, probably because that's where he has the least value at this point, right? Yeah. And Nick Castellanos really having a pretty good year. I mean, 0.1 B WAR is not great, but it's not bad. He's not negative. He's not hurting his team. And he comes through when it matters.
He does clutch. He comes through when it matters, and he comes through when it's tragic. You can count on it.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
He will celebrate your losses with you, by winning.
Hitting dingers. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, but at the same time, who else are you going to put there? So
I don't know. Can't be Juan Soto making $30+ million a year, and
because he's an MVP candidate,
killing it. Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, designated hitter. Is that me or you?
That's me. Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton of the Yankees.
Oh,
$32 million.
My favorite name on this whole list. I've been saying it for years. Go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
You have been saying it. He is getting paid $32 million for 0.5 B WAR. Brig, 0.5.
No, I know.
0.5.
And I feel like he's picked up 0.5 in the last 3 weeks. 4.
He very well may have. He's played 83 games. Do you realize that?
Nobody's played 83 games and gone off the record like this guy has.
83 feels like a lot. Okay, the runners up, Brig, is the double Mitch Witch sandwich in Seattle. Mitch Haniger is getting paid $20 million for a negative 0.3 B WAR. At one point, he had the worst WAR of any active, like everyday player. And then Mitch Garver is the other one, $10.5 million, a negative 0.2 B WAR. By the way, Mitch Garver admitted in public that he has just accepted that he's not going to hit 200 this year.
In public?
He
said the quiet part out loud?
He on the record. It was in the newspaper, Brig, extra. And they printed it, everything. He's hitting 167, and he's been demoted to the backup catcher role from the DH role. And he's still with DH periodically against lefties, but really you don't really see him unless it's a backup catcher day.
Okay, cool. Thank you for coming. Okay, the intermission. This is the intermission. They've given us a fully sunk cost division. These are the names of the guys who basically don't play baseball and who are getting paid at least $10 million. So we've got Jacob deGrom, Texas Rangers, $40 million. Steven Strasburg, still getting paid by the Nationals. It's still $35 million. Cannot understand he's still officially retired this season. Lucas Giolito, Boston Red Sox are paying him $18 million. He had Tommy John. Hoping to be back. Lance McCullers Jr. by the Astros, $17.7 million. Madison Bumgarner, forgot he was there. Arizona Diamondbacks, $14 million. Anthony DeSclafani.
DeSclafani, I think.
You say it however you want. Minnesota Twins, $12 million. Oh, man. This just gets worse. See, this guy plays for the Rockies. I don't even know how to say his name. Antonio Senzatella. Whoever that is.
The problem, Brig, is that so many of these guys are Tommy John victims. I mean, Madison Bumgarner he got cut, right? But Giolito, UCL surgery. Steven Strasburg was retired, right? But deGrom, UCL. McCullers flexor tendon, which is related to your UCL. You're going to be out for a while with that. DeSclafani, flexor tendon. Senzatella, Tommy John, and then you've got Robert Stevenson. He's another Tommy John guy, $11 million.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. And I wonder if teams are going to start to be a little bit more cautious with guys who maybe haven't had Tommy John yet. But then again, it's no guarantee you're not going to have it again. So I don't know.
Yeah. Twice is very common now.
Yep.
All right, Brad, hit us with your starting pitchers.
Starting pitcher, Patrick Corbin. Of course, he's on this list with the Nationals. $35.4 million. Oh, man. With a -1 B WAR. Is that the lowest WAR we've seen on this list so far? At a full
almost.
-1?
It's not the lowest, but it's close.
Javi Baez was even lower than that. I think that the Trevor Story was too.
1.8, right? Trevor Story was -1.8.
Abreu was 1.6.
Yeah.
Why did I scrolled right past the shortstop somehow? There we go. Javi Baez is -1.1. So it's like the third lowest. Wow. But he doesn't play every day. So there's that. True. And your other starting pitchers, you got Max Scherzer with the Rangers, $43.3 million, 0.4 B WAR, but that's strictly injury related. And the same thing with Justin Verlander, $43.3 million with a 0.7 B WAR. Again, injury related. Old guys.
They're old. Yeah, I was going to say they're about as old as it gets. So.
Yeah. However, Jordan Montgomery, $25 million. He's gonna do you one better, Patrick Corbin. -1.3 B WAR. And that was because he was just horrendous when he started this year.
Truly horrendous.
Absolutely.
I'm
And
going to
then
take another
to
dagger
round
here.
out your starting rotation, you got Garrett Cole, $36 million, 0.9 BWAR. Explain this one to me, Brig. Because this feels a lukewarm.
Yeah, it's not. There's a reason he's at the bottom of this list. I feel like they had to work to justify him onto the list, and it's a high-profile hot take here. He does have a WAR, or excuse me, an ERA that's way higher than we want it to be. But if you look around the league among other starting pitchers, 4.15 is going to be around league average for starting pitchers. I'm shooting from the hip with that. You should look it up. But I feel
I'm
like
looking
that's
right
about
now.
league average. He's only had, 10 or 11 starts this season. There's an injury he's coming back from. They need him bad. The pressure is on. He's hard on himself. I don't know. Is he getting paid a ton of money? Yeah, a ton of money. And is this the wrong year to have analyzed? That's not a word. Have analyzed his value against his earnings? Yes, this is the wrong year to have done that for him. I think in any other year, you're not going to see him on this list.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see. Let me go back and see if I can find American. I'll just look up American League average.
There you go. Yeah.
For actually, no, I can get it right here. Duh. What am I thinking? Pitching ERA league average is 4.1. So
See?
he's just a bit
Nailed it.
below league average. Yep.
Yeah, that's close enough for me. Good enough for the government work. Okay. Relief pitchers. The first place is Edwin Diaz for the New York Mets. He's making $19.65 million. He's got a positive .2 WAR, BWAR. What do you think of this? There was an injury situation going on.
I mean, most of the guys on this list have been injured. Is the problem?
Yeah.
There's been some underperformance, but primarily it's injury related. So I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Because you're
Craig
paying
Kimbrell. Go ahead.
Well, as I say, Diaz is getting paid a ton of money. The only guy who's getting paid more than him, I think, is Josh Hader as far as closers go, or even maybe relief pitchers. And I can look that up for sure. But but that's a lot of money for a guy. So Hader is getting a shade under that. Hader's getting 19 even.
Okay.
So, yeah. So he's the highest paid closer in baseball with a .2 BWAR.
Okay. Maybe they're right. Maybe this is overpaid a little.
Yeah. So
Craig Kimbrell overpaid with a negative .1 BWAR, earning $13 million off of the back of that guy. The fact that Craig Kimbrell is the best the Baltimore Orioles were able to do for a closer boggles the mind. I want to know how many blown saves Craig Kimbrell has thrown versus how many saves he's earned, because I feel like he's so up and down. I don't know.
Yes. Well, so here, this is my big thing with Kimbrell is he's 36.
Yeah.
I feel like he is so far past his prime that I wouldn't trust him in the closer role.
But they do every day.
So he has 23 saves,
Okay.
4 losses. I don't see a blown saves statistic.
Well, how about save opportunities? How many save opportunities versus the 23 saves?
That's a good one to look at. I don't see it on here. I'd have to take a deeper dive, and I don't necessarily have the time to do that right now.
Not going to do it. Number 3, Ryan Presley, Astros, $14 million. He does not have a BWAR. It's 0.0. Jose Alvarado for the Phillies, $9.025 million. That's too much mathematicianist for me. Negative 0.1 BWAR. And then Aroldis Chapman is making 10.5 for the Pirates with a 0.5 BWAR. And the man will not be outdone.
That and will not be outdone. Exactly. This is another interesting one because he wasn't in their closer role for. Actually, he still isn't their closer, right? Like,
Right.
and for a while, I don't think he was even a high leverage reliever. So that's a
No,
lot of
he's a
money to
setup guy.
pay. Just like, well, he wasn't the setup guy. He was just kind of like, if you're up 4 or 5 runs, then you bring him in because you don't trust
Yeah.
him if you're
That's
within
true.
2 or 3, right?
That's true.
But they've come back to that now that somehow he's gotten his velo back and
Yeah.
his control. So they brought him back
Yeah.
into a setup role. But that's a lot of money to be paying your setup guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is. At least it's positive WAR.
It is, and he's been good. He's been good again. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Ben Joyce went and chucked that gas, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Hold on.
Because the Pirates are paying Bednar just over $4 million this year.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Baseball family, what do you think of the list that Bleacher Report put together of all-overpaid team? If you're like me and you have lots of daggers in your pack as a Yankees fan, we took a lot of heat rounds on that list.
But it's also like explanatory for what's going on, right? For what you've seen. I feel like it explains a lot.
It's justified. It passes the eye test. It really does. It makes a lot of sense. And that Giancarlo Stanton boulder is our, we feel like Sisyphus pushing Giancarlo Stanton's contract up the hill. It used to be Jacoby Ellsbury, and now we cannot go without one, apparently. It's very cool. Anyway, baseball family, let us know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the channel anywhere you can. We're everywhere, so that should be really easy. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more content. We do it every day. And don't forget to go over to ChinookCeatery.com. It's one of the best ways to support the show. You get a ton of bang for your buck out of it. ChinookCeatery.com. They literally have the best sunflower seeds. We've been talking about it. I have friends that they text me all the time. They're like, well, you were right. This is great. So take my nameless friend's word for it because it's a true story. You can also take our word for it because we reached out to them. We loved them so much. Facts of life. But anyway, go to ChinookCeatery.com. Use code BTPOD. That gives you 10% off your order. It also gives us a little bit of a kickback as well. Helps us keep doing what we're doing. Baseball family, with that, don't forget, we'll be here Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. We'll see you then.